evening, everybody, and welcome to our weekly podcast, RAMP, Real Access Motivates Progress. I know all of you know that I've had COVID this week, but with the new technology, COVID cannot stop us from doing these great interviews. And do we have an amazing organization to promote for you tonight? Tonight, we're talking to Karen Dalton and Randall Bagwell from Dare to Dream Ranch. Welcome, guys. Thank you for coming tonight.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us on.
Why don't you tell everybody a little bit about Dare to Dream Ranch and who you are? Let's start with you, Karen.
Dare to Dream is a 501c3 nonprofit that offers alternative therapy for service members, veterans, and their families with PTSD, anxiety, depression, military sexual trauma, mild traumatic brain injury, and stroke recovery. We offer alternative therapy like equine therapy, woodworking, fly fishing, fly tying. Beekeeping is a new one that we started just this year. We have gardening. I actually have a combat veteran, female combat veteran, that is now taking that over. She has just become a master gardener through the URI program. She's going to be taking that program over. So we have a lot of different programs, and we continue to expand.
That's great. And tell us a little bit how you got involved in the Dare to Dream Ranch, or how you started it.
Well, my father's a Marine. He joined the Marines to get out of a domestic violence household. And he went into the Marines, and then he had some anger management issues. I grew up with that. I married somebody with anger management issues, and I ended up with fibromyalgia and on disability myself. And all the programs that we offer, from the gardening, the horses, being outside, time in nature, and surrounding myself with positive, like-minded people, helped me to get better. And as I was going to school to become a certified health coach, they ask you to, how are you going to be unique and different? And I tried to incorporate everything that helped me to get off all my medications and feel better. And the goal is to break the cycle. So Randy here is a Navy veteran, and as we were walking through the trails one day, I said, time and money doesn't matter. What would you like to do? Because he was talking about retiring. And he said he wanted to teach veterans how to run their own cattle business. So now we have 28 cows and 16 are pregnant a year later.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. So how long has the Dare to Dream Ranch been around?
We got our 501c3 February 19th, 2015, the day my granddaughter was born. And I started going to Providence, picking up veterans from the homeless shelter, Gateway homeless shelter down there, and then bringing them up to foster. And then we moved into this facility April 1st of 2016.
Wow, it's absolutely beautiful. Randall, why don't you tell us a little bit about you and, why this is so important to you?
Well, it goes all the way back to my heritage, my background as a kid, and things of the horses, the equine was one of those things that I've always been on. It even goes back to a doctor telling my mom and dad when I was young to get me a horse to burn up my energy because I was destructive in school and things of that nature. But so that's the equine part of it. The cattle ranching, my grandfather was a rancher, 4,000 head of cattle. And after joining the Navy, getting out of it, away from it, I tried a little bit while I was still in the Navy. But due to sea duty, I had to sell my property, sell my cows. So I had this chance here. And so Karen and I were talking. And last November, we'd met a veteran in Runnings.
Yep.
And he was a Korean vet. And he had a ball cap on it, said Angus. And next thing we're at his house, and the next thing he's calling me up, asking me if I want to buy 2 calves. Me and Karen, we go look at the calves, we buy them. Karen now owns T-Bone, which I named them T-Bone and Nellie after my mom. And because T-Bone becomes such a pet with Karen that she now owns T-Bone, and she now has him under saddle with people able to ride him. And they're working every Friday with the young man that comes out and teaching T-Bone how to rein, so that when Karen has these yellow events, she can now take T-Bone and a horse and a goat and a donkey to these functions. And so that's her part. Mine was to get the veterans involved, and you know, it's not a nonprofit; it's a for-profit because I feel like if the veteran buys in on the cattle business, now they're vested, so they have money invested in it. They want to come out here, they want to learn. Uh, you know, where if it was a kind of a non, I can maybe go or not go, and now you know they feel like, hey, I got to get out there to see my cow, I got to get out there to see my calf. Uh, you know, I've got I've got more females invested than I have males. I think I got 11.
Yeah.
11 veterans invested in this, and a couple of family members of veterans. Uh, Most of them own cows. The cows, like she said, this spring we're going to have 3, I think, born in March. April we have 4 calves coming around, and so we're going to be busy this year with the cattle business. But the veterans come out, they've learned how to give vaccinations, tattoo the ears, put ear tabs in, come out and do artificial. They come out and watch the artificial inseminations take place. The veterinarian coming out, checking, doing pregnancy tests, running sonograms on the cows to actually tell us what kind of calf we're going to have, whether we're going to have a male or a female. And so veterans are going, wow, there's more into this than I thought, you know, and they just thought you bought a cow and turned it out to pasture. So,
But for the therapy part of it, though, when he has these days of vaccination, and we call it the Bagwell Farms Beef Association or
right.
Cattle Association, and the members that have bought into it, these are a lot of them are combat veterans, and they've said this is the best therapy I have ever had because they're not sitting there trying to talk about things. They are sorting cows, you know, from the separating the mamas to who needs what vaccine and who needs this, and putting them through shoots and actually, you know, writing things down and tracking, okay, who's pregnant and who's not pregnant and who needs this vaccine, and giving the vaccines and learning how to use the contraptions. So they
We have
really have gotten
we've had a couple of big guys, you know. Oh, I played football. Yeah, but this cow weighs 1,800 pounds. Don't try to take her head on. I'll move her. No, you ain't moving nothing, buddy. When
Oh,
she drops her
that's
head,
amazing.
you're going to be gone.
So where do most of the veterans come from? Anywhere from around, or is there a certain group that they go through, or can any veteran come down?
Well, any veteran can come down, but mostly it's Rhode Island. We do have Mass and Connecticut, obviously, because Rhode Island is so small that, you know, neighboring states can just drive an hour and they're here. But I started out with on the task force, the VA Medical Center has a community task force. So I'm on that task force due to COVID. Obviously, we're not meeting, but people got to know who I am and what we do. I have a table usually, excuse me, depending on the event that they're doing. I have a table at their events for the Army and Air National Guard, pre, post, and mid deployment events, their Carnival of Heroes events, their Holiday of Heroes events, so that people can know what we're doing. I've been, you know, the air show you're showing right now. We had a table, had some veterans volunteer and help hand out information. Word of mouth, getting out there and supporting the other veteran groups that are out there, like the Combat Vets Motorcycle Association, their motorcycle fundraisers, you know, different things like that. Getting out there and supporting other, you know, other veteran nonprofits. I met Randy several years ago at a VA resource event. So, you know, it's just always trying to be wherever a veteran can be so that they have the resources to know what's available.
That's great. And tell me a little bit more of the equine, the therapy section of it. Like, what do people go and do when they go out there for that?
So that's a twofold. So if somebody says they want to work on a therapy side of it, it's actually groundwork. So like you and I were talking earlier about riding. So when somebody comes with an emotional mental health challenge, relationship skill building, nonverbal communication, trust, leadership, which could mean anger management issues, so forth. We do groundwork exercises. So we work with horses on the ground and we do exercises. So a horse is a hypervigilant fight or flight animal. Somebody with PTSD and anxiety is hypervigilant fight or flight. The horse is going to mirror back what you're giving off. So if you come to me and you say you're having issues with, say, a spouse, and so to me that says it could be communication, it could be relationships. So we get into the arena with the horse, give them some tools, maybe some grooming tools, maybe some other different things like a lead rope or hula hoops or pool noodles or orange cones and different, and say, create what your challenge looks like to you. And then I invite you to explore what a good relationship looks like and give them these tools, and then they have to figure it out. So my job is to hold the space. Their job is to try and figure that out with the horse.
That is amazing. How does that work? I mean, is a lot of people like very receptive to this, or, is it hard for them to get through the first couple of days, or how long does it take somebody to
Sometimes
interact?
it is. Sometimes it's hard for the first few minutes trying to figure out, well, what am I supposed to do? And my job is to hold the space, not tell them what they need to do. It's not my job to tell them how to figure it out. They need to figure it out. And sometimes that says it everything right there, right?
It's pretty unique to watch the people come out, and Karen basically gives them the option of picking the horse they want to work with. Now, they don't know the horses really don't know them, but the people usually end up picking the correct horse for them. It's really in working on those issues. And just a couple of examples, the one I use the most is a female, MST, military sexual trauma, a lot of abusive things in her life. She comes out, she picks Colonel Jackson. He's the biggest horse here. He's a big white Percheron.
Draft horse.
So how come did she pick that? Well, she's a petite, small woman. She picked it because she now has power over something bigger than her, where she's always been the petite one, and everything bigger and powerful, whether it be her father, the military, or whatever, has always been bigger than her. So now she now controls something bigger than her. And so it's kind of the role reversal. Brandon picked Blue because Blue's kind of a rambunctious young colt or young horse. And this kid related that horse to always wrestling with his father and fighting with his father. So that was kind of the pick. Now, neither one of them knew each other when they picked them. That's what brought it, that's kind of what brought them together, or that's what the horses read from each other.
That is so amazing to watch something like that. I mean, it must be so rewarding to you to watch people figure it out and, pick the right horse and figure it out.
Yeah, it's very rewarding. And sometimes they don't get it right away. Sometimes they leave. And when they come back, they after they're going through their weekly activities, they go, oh, this reminded me of this, and this reminded me of that. And it makes sense to me now. And they say things that, they're like, I had an aha moment, or they're able to move forward in their current life because of something they did with a horse. So it's really amazing. And our future goals are to be able to have a licensed behavioral health specialist partner with me as an equine specialist. So it's actually called equine psychotherapy rather than just equine facilitated coaching. So right now I am a life coach and a health coach, utilize horses to help people overcome their challenges. In the future, I'd like to partner equine specialists with licensed behavioral health specialists and be able to call it equine psychotherapy.
That's amazing. And how often do people come out? Is it once a week? Is it like are they out there for a whole week, or what's like a schedule like?
So individuals that are local usually come out about once a week. Sometimes it's every other week, depending on their schedule. But the thing is, unlike other organizations where they may only offer, say, 6 sessions for free, I have people that have been coming out for years. So, like we've been here since 2016, so we're coming up on our 5th year.
Well, we have the one veteran that was just out here, wasn't coming out here, but after the the disruption in Washington, D.C. on the 6th of January. And because of her combat duties, she hyperventilated. She went into panic mode and all that. Called Karen, says, I got to come out. I got to come out. So she came out. She hadn't been out here in a long while, but she knew where to go to. She needed someone to talk to and some work with something to take her mind off of what just happened in Washington, D.C. Well, she got out here. I hooked her up with a 1,000-pound bale of hay that I needed rolled down into the pasture. So that took a lot of her frustrations out real quick and stuff. But that's, just pick up the phone, call, make an appointment. Karen's always standing by, weekly, bi-weekly, whatever it is. And you got we got a girl in Irving, Texas that once this COVID thing gets out, she's a double amputee. She wants to come up here and spend a week or 4 days, 5 days with us up here at the ranch. So
Yep, she lost her legs from the knees down.
right.
Well,
She's in
now we were
Irving,
just
Texas.
talking. Yeah, we were just talking earlier because I used to ride before I became paralyzed with my spinal stroke, and you were just telling me that even people with no legs have actually come out and ridden horses. Tell us a little bit about that, because I am now all excited to get back out there, because now I know that I could actually ride a horse. I am thrilled.
Well, so we do family fun days around here. So we do like basically a petting zoo environment where you can come out with your family. The person that we were talking to is a double amputee Marine. Yep, he stepped on an IED, but he was leaning forward, so it didn't affect his torso, but it did take his legs. But he has no legs whatsoever, so it's like the hip joints are gone. And he came out to see his cow that he owns and bring out his kids and his wife and friends of theirs to see all the animals and kind of do a petting zoo day, which everything is offered for free to our clients. So they came out and I had the kids, I put the surcingle on. The last time they had come out, the kids and his wife had ridden, but his daughter was a little hesitant of riding the horses bareback. So I put a surcingle on because it's big, has huge handles for them to hold on to. And everybody, big smiles, and everybody was loving it. And I said, all right, you're up next. He goes, nope, I like my shoulders. I'm like, oh, come on. You do this, you do that. You can get up there. Nope, nope, nope. I'm like, don't be a chicken. Come on. So I went around one more time with his daughter, and he's like, all right, getting on. And, he got up to the horse, and he grabbed onto the surcingle, and he does do a lot of working out. So he has a lot of upper body strength. He does sled hockey. He does hand cycling. He does a lot of physical, activities. So he pulled himself up, a little bit of assistance, but he pulled himself up and he was able to hold on and walk around the arena with the horse. And the horse was his legs. So it was pretty exciting.
That is amazing, because just to be able to
chair. So
yeah,
he has a track chair. So he's able to go into the cow pastures and be surrounded by 28 cows that are 1,800 pound cows, and hand feed them carrots and rub on them. And, it's great.
Yeah, we're going to need to get you a track chair to leave at the ranch, so when I come down, I can be able to use it, because we so need one of those.
That and other veterans, that's on our to-do list, is try to get one that we can have here stored.
Yep.
So what are some of the other things that go on at the ranch? Like, what else can people do when they come down to the ranch?
Well, you said that. Now, Karen, we started with, once the cows came here, I have several other pastures leased away from the ranch here. So Karen started one day by accident. Let's go over and feed the cows. So a couple of people were here, so they went over to feed the cows. They brought some carrots. And so now we do an event once a week when the weather's right. We now have a wagon that was dedicated in memory of a Navy veteran that committed suicide. His mother purchased the wagon. We now take that to the other pastures. And so we do carrots, cocktails, and cows. So you come to the ranch,
Oh,
you make
wow.
a $10 donation to the ranch. You bring your carrots and your cocktails. You go through the petting zoo of the rabbits, the chickens, the goats, and the donkeys and stuff. And then we put you on the wagon. We go to the other pastures where you'll see the mama cows and the babies. And you're basically sitting in a field with, like she said, 1,800 cows all around you, driving you crazy, wanting your drink and wanting your carrots.
Oh my God, I would absolutely love that. So yeah, so we need to get you a track to leave there. So when people like me come down,
Right.
I can go to all of these pastures because my power wheelchair would not do well with the mud. But what could I do if I did come down without the mud? There is some places for me to go and to help out.
Yeah, so actually I did put in a driveway from the main driveway down to the barn. So it is, you can drive right up to the barn. So you can go into the barn and all of the immediate trails or what do you want, paths are compacted with processed pavement. So it is wheelchair accessible. So you could hand feed the goats, the miniature horses. You can go into the barn and hand go in with some of the horses. You could actually go into their stalls, or you could feed them from outside their stall doors. You can go to the rabbits. So there is areas that you can go to. We also have our woodworking, which is right in the main driveway. We have a woodworking workshop that can be set up to be completely 100% accessible to anybody handicapped. It actually has a ramp going inside the workshop, but you know, we can set that up. That is portable, set that up for anybody.
We can give you a shovel and a rake and you can clean a paddock.
I like that. Hey, I helped use a sledgehammer at my new habitat home, so I'm up for anything. But just feeling useful. It must be so good to see people with disabilities and the veterans with the PTSD just feeling like they can help out and they can participate and they can be part of it. That must be like the whole goal.
Well, right before I moved out here, and it's because of the weather and the COVID thing that he hasn't been out here. Karen was working with Romeo, a gentleman that's
Try not to use names, honey.
okay. I didn't think that was his name. I thought,
it's not his name, but
right. We
anyway,
call him Romeo.
We call him Romeo. Yes, because he kept hitting on me.
Oh no.
No, it's a stroke recovery patient that had difficulty with walking. So they drive right up to the barn. When he first got here, he could barely get out of the car, you know, stumbled to walk. And I honestly was not sure how I would handle, you know, what to do with him to help him and get him to be able to work with the horses. His memory was very challenged because of the stroke. And so, you know, we took pictures of the horses. The person that brought him out would, you know, take pictures and then give him a board and put the pictures of the horses with their names to try and help him with his memory. And he came out here for a whole year. And by the time he was done, he was riding our paint on his own with a saddle and a bridle and the round pen.
Oh, that's amazing. That is so amazing.
Yeah.
Well, tell people how they can get involved and how they can help out, because I mean, I'm sure you guys run off of donations and stuff. So how can people help out?
Well, I mean, definitely we run off donations, right? So if you work off federal funding, there's a lot of restrictions for federal funding, right? So we have different people, different organizations that only work with certain clientele. Like if you're working with homeless veterans, if you're getting grant funding, it's because they're below poverty level, right? But if you have a 100% disabled veteran, so due to his injuries, he has 100%, he or she is 100% disabled, they are making approximately $3,700 a month. If they mismanage their money for one reason or another, we won't get into all the different reasons, but for one reason or another, they mismanage their money, get themselves in trouble, and they find themselves being evicted or homeless,
or
divorce situations, so forth. These organizations refuse to help them. So we have we have had to take out, or I've had to start GoFundMe accounts to get first, last, and security deposits. We've reached out to our supporting organizations like Rolling Thunder RI to be able to provide food, completely stock their kitchens with food. Reached out to our network of people on Facebook and gotten furniture and supplies for their apartments or their houses or so forth. So our goal, excuse me, is to be able to increase that and bring awareness that we need support for veterans, even if they are above poverty. Don't judge them. Don't tell me, oh, sorry, they didn't, use their money wisely and we can't help them. Like, you have combat veterans that for one reason or another are finding themselves homeless. We should be able to help them. So we're looking forward to partnering with the Center for Dynamic Learning to be able to have these shipping containers turn into tiny homes, to be able to put on our property, to be able to utilize them to also work the farm. So somebody that finds being out in the middle of nowhere, you have a lot of veterans that don't want to be around people, but love being around animals. So if those people want to come and help us with the farm, we can also help them with housing.
That's truly amazing. Now, where can people donate, or where can people make, contributions other than following you on Facebook or going to your website? How can people, make donations just to keep the farm running on a day-to-day?
Well, they can mail checks to us directly. We have PayPal, so they can go to PayPal, put in my email address, which is Karen Dalton, healthyliving@gmail.com. You can click on the donate buttons on our website, which is daretodreamranch.org. You can go to our Facebook, same thing, Dare to Dream Ranch. On Facebook, click on donate, goes to our PayPal account, mail a check. It's Dare to Dream Ranch, 12 Snagwood, Snagwood Road, Foster, Rhode Island, 02825. And then we're also partner. I'm sorry. So we have our 401 Gives campaign coming up April 1st. It's a virtual fundraiser. If we're the first nonprofit to reach $50,000, we get a matching $50,000. Our goal is to then build our gift shop on our property to be able to sell items that veterans are making, as well as to be able to increase revenue to our programs.
That is amazing, because one of your veterans made me a beautiful wooden flag that was donated to my Habitat house. I can't wait to get it. We have not connected yet to get it, but you have a great fundraiser and gift shop there. But you also have events where you can have vendors that come out, different vendors come out. When do those usually happen?
So we did a Veterans Day pop-up gift shop this year, and then we'll look at spring. Due to COVID, we're kind of figuring out when we can do things and when we can't do things, how many people we can have. So we'll look at being able to do pop-up gift shops here on the property again, coming when the weather's better. Doesn't really work to have outdoor events like that if you got snow on the ground.
Yeah, especially around here, you don't know when it could snow, rain, or be windy. We are New England. Like today, it was sunny, it was snowing, it was raining, it snowed again. Like, it didn't know what it wanted to do today. Now, are you open during the week or only on the weekends?
Sunday, Tuesday through Sunday. Mondays are my only days. I have my grandkids on Mondays. So Tuesday through Sunday.
So do people have to make an appointment, or can they just stop down if they had some extra time from Tuesday through Sunday? Or
they have to make an appointment, because I could be with another client. I could be out getting grain to feed all these animals, or do another type of business. So they definitely have to make an appointment. So you can give me a call, send me a text, 401-919-2059, or send me an email, DARE, DARE, the number 2, dreamranchri@gmail.com. So send me an email, or call or text, and we can set up an appointment. Woodworking is done through another, one of our veterans. He's a 22-year Navy chief. So that is based on his schedule. So, you know, woodworking is different. Beekeeping is through me, gardening, the horses, but the cattle. And Randy can also talk about another program that he does, taking veterans out deep sea fishing, which is handicapped accessible as well.
That's
Oh, that sounds
part of
interesting.
it. Well, I also own River Rebel Charters, which is a sport fishing charter boat business, and I run out of Bristol, and I also run out of Point Judith. Point Judith after the 1st of July, do our fishing trips to Block Island. So I'm also part of a nonprofit called Veteran Angler Charters, which was started by as another civilian female down in Connecticut who's a school teacher. The year more veterans committed suicide in the States than actually died in Iraq. Told her father somebody needs to do something. He said, we'll do something. So she took her boat or his boat and she started taking veterans out down in West Haven, Connecticut, out fishing. The program's grown so much, we now just put on our 6th boat. So we have 3 boats in Connecticut. I'm the Rhode Island captain. We have a captain in Plymouth, Mass, and 1 in Maine. So we're able to do a lot more veterans stuff. But we provide completely handicap accessible. Kevin, or the person we was talking about a while ago, being a double amputee, he's been on the boat. I've had several wheelchairs. The guys all run bigger boats than me, so I carry 4, they carry 6. We even bring people up from Walter Reed Hospital to do trips down with the captain down in West Haven, Connecticut. So that's also available. So going back to Dare to Dream, if somebody wanted to do something also, if the students, we find a lot of students have to do community service, and they can hook up with Karen Dalton and come out here to get their requirements for college or school. They can come out here and get their community service done because there's not a lot of places right now because of COVID doing community service work.
Right.
And we are one of those places. We can keep you 6 feet away.
I have 11
Yeah,
acres, so
that
we
is
can
awesome.
space you out.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so true because I find, you know, with RAMP, we go out to schools, or we were going out to schools. We're not obviously doing that now
Right.
because schools aren't even in school. But, you know, being the introduction to the disabled community and, you know, showing them that we can kind of do, so it would kind of be a good twist together to get some disabled people with some students doing community service hours and showing that even out in my wheelchair, I can go out and feed the horses or help out or whatever, and having them see that gives them a whole new perspective of working with veterans who are, you know, working through their own challenges. I could find that being such a good model for these children and young adults to bring on with them.
Right. Yeah,
No.
lots of
So
opportunities.
Yeah. What's your favorite part about the ranch?
I built it around, like, people say, what do you do for you? I'm like, do you realize I built this around me? So gardening was always my therapy. If I didn't have a garden to weed, I'd build a new garden. So the vegetable gardens, the flower gardens, I love flowers, and the horses. So I don't know. I mean, those are my areas right there, is the vegetable garden. I did go to the course for beekeeping. I don't love being stung by bees, so it's not my favorite part. I am looking forward to having some honey. But you know, it's when the bees, when we first started out, there was a small amount of bees. We started out with 300 worker bees and a queen. And every 20, 21, 28 days, they reproduce. So you constantly have new babies in there. So we have one hive that has about 30,000 bees in it right now. And when you
Wow.
start moving those frames apart, if it's too cold, if it's windy, if it's rainy, they are angry. So you got to make sure to smoke them. Yeah, I've been stung too many times. So this was my first year. It's a great learning experience, but at the same time, it can be very, very therapeutic. You have to slow down to work with them. It is not something you can whip out this frame and whip out that frame and do this and do that. You have to, like, very, very slowly move one frame at a time. And I've had veterans that are power lifters that would think nothing of hitting a human that aggravates them, but yet with these itty bitty tiny little bees going, okay, honey, move aside. Oh, I don't want to squish you. Move, 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 move. And being so gentle with them. It's been interesting. It's again,
I can
like
so
working
see
with
that.
the horses. Again, working with the horses, you see people that really find themselves in certain circumstances and can grow and expand and have those aha moments. And then I'm seeing the same thing with bees. So it's been interesting.
That's amazing. Now I know you do 99% veterans, but would you do like a group of disabled or a disabled person who needed some extra help, or like if somebody knew a connection to somebody but didn't have the military connection, would you work with others?
So as far as offering things for free, we are strictly military. As far as, if I have the availability, which it depends. I mean, sometimes I don't have that availability to be able to have a moment in a day that I could say, oh yeah, I could work with, this group. Although what I have done is opening it up to a petting zoo environment where anybody can come in, as far as, for awareness and promote awareness and what we do and what we have here, to say, hey, come learn about the petting zoo, or come do the cocktails and carrots and cows event, where you're around the animals, but it's not necessarily a therapeutic, concentrated on you in a certain area. There are other nonprofits out there that do that, and I'm happy to refer people out there. But for us, as far as the therapy part of it, we are strictly military. So, but not to say, if you want to volunteer, you can come volunteer. You want to do a petting zoo, on the petting zoo days, things like that. Like when we do the pop-up gift shop, we also do petting zoo and pony rides, and people might find therapy in doing that, but we don't call it therapy in that aspect.
Right. No, that makes a lot of sense because, like somebody like me, I have no military background or anything, but my whole family was in the military. So giving back and doing something, knowing that I'm helping veterans or I'm learning something to raise awareness for more veterans is where more as I was going with that. You know what I mean? Because there are so many people who want to support.
Yeah, sure. So we have a lot of military families that volunteer, and in which case they get to come and they volunteer, which helps us move forward, gives them a feeling of importance, because they're helping our veterans at being able to do things so that I can work with the veterans that are struggling, and then being able to be around the animals, and whether it's 1 day a week or 5 days a week. We have right now a volunteer that comes out once a week, and his dad was one of the original members of Band of Brothers. And he comes out and he loves being able to get in there with the animals and help out with different things that are going on. So you never know what they're going to get out of being around there as a volunteer.
We have a guy coming out now who just recently got a job because he wants to learn more about ranching and cattle and things of that nature. So, but he needed mission, purpose, and statement because he just got out of the Army in September. And
after 24 years?
Yeah, 24 years.
Yeah.
And basically what happens there is you wake up the next day after being in 24 years, you really don't know what to put on. You don't know how to get dressed because you've been told how to dress for 24 years. And so now, how do I go about getting a job? How do I go about getting this? And one thing led to another that he found out about us.
Yeah, he found out about us, said, I want to volunteer. And then he started volunteer. And then we found out he wanted to do more with farming. And we found out he needed a job. And Randy, through his connections, was able to help him get a job. And, you know, he volunteers on his days off now. So,
Yep.
yeah, it's, you never know what resources you're going to need to provide unless somebody steps
Right.
forward, whether it's as a client or as a volunteer.
That's
That's
one thing
amazing.
that's one thing about me and
Now-
Karen. We're not afraid to ask.
Yeah. Now, Randy, tell me a little bit on the cattle side that it's for profit. Is that only for veterans or veteran families, or is that open to
Veterans
anybody?
veterans and veteran.
Families.
That's what you said. Veterans and veteran family members. You have to have some connection, with the veteran. So in that case,
Right.
you'd fall into that situation there. Just as was talking, the one gentleman who bought the Red Angus, we call her Reba. The veteran without any legs. We had a function out here a couple of weeks ago. His father came out. He ended up buying a cow from us, or a calf actually, and so he bought a calf. So there's several ways they can do it. You buy a cow, so we co-own the cow, me and you together, and that cow is going to have a calf. Now, when we have that calf, we're going to decide what we're going to do with it, whether we're going to keep it for breeding and make a bigger herd, or whether we're going to grow it up so we can send it to market, or what exactly we want to do with it. So there's a return in the money. I'm having to do all the upkeep, the maintenance, and the feeding, and all that kind of stuff. So your return's not going to be as high as my return will be, but you're still going to make money at it, hopefully. And then the other way is if somebody comes in and they want to raise something for the freezer, they make an investment, that part of it. I then return once we go to the market with that animal, I give them their money back plus a profit. So you've only got your money. Just give you an example. You invest $1,000. When that calf is ready to go to market, I'm gonna give you the $1,000 back plus 500. So you just made 500 in a year off of your
Less than a
1,000.
year.
Or you can have a side of beef put in your freezer, because that's what a side of beef is approximately going for, if that or more. And then I'm going to sell the
Right.
other side to the public.
But if
Right.
you bought a side of beef for locally grown at by the piece, it would cost you more than to be
Right.
able to do it this way. So you're saving money and making money.
See, my biggest thing is once I saw the cattle's face, I couldn't eat it after that. And I'm a meat eater. But growing
Yeah.
it, naming it,
I am too. That's why T-Bone is named T-Bone, right? Because I was supposed to mentally get my head around the fact that he was going to a cooler location, which is what I now say when animals need to be rehomed. They're going to a cooler location, and I'm going, okay, his name's T-Bone. He's going to be T-Bone. And I kept telling everybody he's going to be T-Bone. Well, I had a puppy. I have a golden retriever. If you follow me on Facebook, you see Bailey.
yes.
And I had to have you always had to have a pocket full of treats. So it's 11 acres. I need to whistle and he needs to come. And then when he comes, I got to give him a treat. Well, T-Bone started, wanting the treats. If I was near him, he wanted them. So then I started scratching on him and taking videos of me feeding him and scratching on him. And that's where the cocktails and cows thing came about, because people were like, I want to come scratch on your cow. I want to come do this. I'm like, well, if I'm going to designate 2 hours once a week, you're going to pay me at least $10. Come and
Right.
you got 2 hours with all the animals on the whole farm for $10. So that's
Amazing.
And so after a couple of months, I said to Randy, okay, honey, how much to save them? And he goes, 1,500 aside. So what he would have gotten in the market is what we paid for him. So
that's why we're for profit over here. I'm not a nonprofit on this side.
Yeah. That's good. That's going to be tough.
His daughter goes, you actually made her pay you for the cow? I said, well, I did agree to this, so I had to pay for it. It was, what I signed up for.
Yep.
But now T-Bone has to give steroids to make his money back.
Nice. But yeah, after you scratched on him and stuff, how do you eat him after that? Like, that's not going to happen.
I can't. So now we have veterans that want that immediate return, right? So if you invested $1,000, what market can you go to right now where you can in 6 months or 8 months make $500 on your $1,000, right?
Right.
In this business, you give him the initial $5,000, and when he goes to market, whether it's 6 months or 8 months, depending how early you buy in, you get $500 back on your money.
That's amazing.
or the beef, or, if you want
Right.
to fill your freezer. So
Yeah.
it's a quick investment. So we
And
have
the other way is if you own a cow, and every year we're going to breed her. Right now we have, we have one bull out there who's Valentino, and then we have 16 mama cows. Now those 16 mama cows are all pregnant. So our herd will go from 29, add 16, hopefully, if all of them hit the ground properly, to our 29 that we have now. So somebody's got to move. Somebody's got to go to a cooler room.
a cooler location.
A cooler
So
location.
when we have or he buys a steer or whatever, and we know it's going to a cooler location, I make sure to tell everybody on the farm, do not make friends with that cow. Do not rub on it. Do not try to feed it. Do not make friends with it. It's going.
Right. That's tough. But as we're running low on time, I want you each to tell me what you want everybody to know about Data Dream Ranch and all of that you do. Give everybody the most information that you can. We'll start with you, Karen.
Oh, well, again, we'll try to talk about Data Dream in itself, but my dad was a Marine that struggled with anger management issues. I married somebody, I grew up with that, married somebody with anger management issues. My goal is to break the cycle. I have seen many, many clients that went into the military to get away from domestic violence situations, poverty situations, and so forth. Our goal is to break that cycle. So I have veterans, between the programs that I started, veterans have come to me and said, this helped me, can I do this? We are constantly, what I call MMA, measure, monitor, and adjust, constantly looking at what we offer, how we offer it. And if you have something that helped you and you want to help somebody else, let us know, and we will grow and expand and add what we can to our programs to be able to help everybody.
And give us the website again, Karen.
It's daretodreamranch.org, because everybody dares to dream.